All right, Donald Trump's of course back in the news. He always in the news, never leaves. And there's someone who's turned evidence against him. It's not Michael Cohen, this time it's Allen Weisselberg. But Michael Cohen does join us, his former lawyer and his former fixer, talk to us about it. Michael is also the host of Mea Culpa, that's his hit podcast. And he wrote a book earlier called Disloyal, a memoir. That was a New York Times bestseller. He's got a new one coming out called Revenge: How Donald Trump Weaponized the US Department of Justice against his critics. And that is also very timely given the discussion of Department of Justice.
Yeah, talk about being prescient, right, Cenk? I mean, This is exactly what Donald Trump does. He turns around and he takes things that he knows is negative to him because he's the one who created the headache, and then he applies it to himself as if he's the victim. That, oh my God, the Biden administration, the Democrats are weaponizing the Justice Department to go against him. But this is your show, Cenk, so I'm gonna let you lead the questions.
Yeah, so no, but that is an excellent point. And that's exactly what he did with the term, for example, fake news. So I don't have a lot of respect for Donald Trump's IQ, but he is good with marketing. And he took what was a term used against him because his campaign had put out a bunch of literal fake news in the 2016 campaign. And he flipped it on the mainstream media and pretended it was them. And now whenever anybody thinks of fake news, they think of mainstream media. So he has done that a number of times here with the Department of Justice. Boy, is a good timing. I'm gonna come back to that. But Allen Weisselberg's in the news again, as I said in the beginning, and he was the chief financial officer of the Trump organization. And so he did a plea deal where he's gonna get basically 100 days in jail for having cheated in about $2 million of taxes. So Michael, it looks like they're gonna hold him accountable and they're gonna go after the Trump organization. But the Manhattan DA has shown seemingly no interest in going after Trump himself. But what I never understood about his case, and help me understand this if you can, and it was the same of your case. Well, who gave the order? Like Weisselberg carried out things at the Trump organization. You carried out things for Donald Trump, but don't you have to prosecute the guy who gave the order at some point?
Right, so you may remember in my statement during the sentencing proceeding, I turned around and I stated that what I did at the direction of and for the benefit of Donald J. Trump. And with that, I was referring to the Stormy Daniels payment of the $130,000. In fact, I talk about this extensively in Revenge. I was not guilty of tax evasion, misrepresentation to a bank. Those are all lies that were promoted by the Southern District of New York. And again, it goes into the book, Donald Trump weaponizing the Justice Department to go against his critics. The case never made sense to anybody except the way that the media started to portray it, starting with the fake story about me being in Prague. You know, on top of that, people always say, yeah, but you also paid Karen McDougal $150,000. That's not true either. In fact, David Pecker and the National Enquirer paid. The thing about Allen Weisselberg is that they are going after Allen the same way that they're gonna go after Rudy in Georgia. Allen and Rudy and Mark Meadows and so many others are going to join me in the welcome to the under the Trump bus club, because that's what Donald does. He'll throw you under the bus to save himself. And it doesn't make a difference if it's his CFO for 50 years. It doesn't matter if it was his former chief of staff. It doesn't matter if it's his children. It doesn't matter if it's his wife. It doesn't matter who, because Donald Trump doesn't care about anyone or anything other than himself. And everyone to Donald is expendable. And that includes Allen Weisselberg. But I'll tell you, in this case, the judge was very, very smart. He was clever in terms of what he did. So you're right when you said that Allen is looking at 5 months, which will turn out to be 100 days, despite the fact that it's at Rikers Island, which we all know is just a horrible, horrible place. But 100 days for what he did? Now, that's assuming that he provides testimony to the district attorney's office as it relates to their case, the indictment that right now is pending against the Trump organization. If he lies, if he fails to answer the question, and by the way, Allen is known to lie. In fact, you could even Google this. Allen lied to the Southern District of New York in my case when it came to Stormy Daniels. He lied to them. The SDNY knew that he was lying. They still used that information when they went to the grand jury, and they offered him immunity. So, there's a lot of problems in our Justice Department, which of course Donald is taking advantage of. But Allen, if he lies in this specific case, he's looking at up to 15 years, which would basically, be the end of his life.
But here's the part I don't understand, Michael. And it's both in your case and the Weisselberg case. But let's start with your case first. Did the prosecutors ever tell you why they never charged your co-conspirator? Because you went to prison for it. You obviously didn't think of the idea on your own. It was Donald Trump who told you to do it. And tell me if I'm wrong about that. So why didn't they ever charge your co-conspirator?
Yeah, so they never tell you. In fact, there were, from my understanding, about a dozen sealed indictments at the Southern District of New York, which they elected to allow the time to expire. The statute of limitations expired. And then they decided that there wasn't enough information. Get a load of this. There wasn't enough information in order to charge Donald and the other people that were there named in these sealed indictments. Why? I don't know. In fact, the affair with Stormy took place years before I even started working at the Trump organization. What benefit was it to me to pay for this guy's dirty deeds? Well, because my boss told me to do it. Plain and simple.
Yeah, and so Michael, it's a small organization. So was there anyone other than Donald Trump giving orders to you and Allen Weisselberg?
No, so when I first started working for Donald, the deal was I was to be the executive vice president of the Trump organization and special counsel to Donald J. Trump, meaning I answered to no one other than Donald. My job, which is something that I even do right now, I started a company called Crisis-X. And basically I do what I had done for Donald. People who have significant crises on their hand that need a full sort of game plan as it relates to law, as it relates to media and strategy. They bring me in for consult and for advice. So, that's what I did. Everything at the Trump organization, everything in the White House was always done at the direction of, and of course for the benefit of, and with the full knowledge of Donald J. Trump, plain and simple.
So, Michael, there's two schools of thought on Alvin Bragg, the Manhattan DA. One is that he's quietly laying a trap for Trump, and he's going to get Weisselberg to explain what Trump organization did wrong, and then they're going to go, aha, the guy who ran the Trump organization is Trump, and he gave the orders, and they're going to go after him. The other school of thought is he's a coward. He's going to convict Trump organization, but leave Donald Trump alone, which will be relatively useless. I'm in the second camp, but you know more than I do. What do you think he's going to do? Is there any chance that Allen Weisselberg will actually be Donald Trump's demise?
Okay, so I'm in neither of those camps. I don't want to call Alvin Bragg a coward, though I would have to say I'm probably closer to that camp than I am to the first. They're not laying any traps here. In fact, there were two seasoned attorneys, Mark Pomerantz and Carrie Dunn, that resigned. These guys, do you know Carrie Dunn came and visited me 3 times while I was in Otisville in order to pull information out of me to open up this matter. The fact that Carrie Dunn, general counsel to the DA's office, and Mark Pomerantz, a seasoned vet, I mean, this guy is a seasoned attorney, especially when it comes to RICO. The fact that they resigned in protest to the fact that Alvin Bragg refused to bring indictments against Donald when they said, we have him dead to right. We have all the documents. We have all the information. We have now spoken to him. We have the testimony of several different people, including, right, their own accounting firm. So you have everybody in the mixture here. And Alvin Bragg still decided that he was not going to bring the charges. Now, again, I don't want to make too much out of this nonsense about Weisselberg not flipping on Donald. This is not a case of flipping. This is specifically a case that he's going to have to answer the questions honestly and truthfully. And God help him if he doesn't. Rest assured, the guy's going to spend a long time, probably the rest of his natural life, behind bars, which I know for a fact because I was there for 13 months and 51 days in solitary confinement. He does not want this.
Yeah, Michael, you mentioned in congressional testimony that Trump organization would inflate the assets to get loans from banks and then deflate the asset numbers when reporting taxes. And that's a significant crime. To your knowledge, have prosecutors ever followed up on that particular crime?
To my knowledge, no. And that's so, it angers me so, because I always compare Donald to who? To what do you call it? To Al Capone. They couldn't get him on racketeering. They couldn't get him on murder. They couldn't get him on extortion. So they got him for what? Tax evasion. They already have the information. They have all the tax returns. They have everything. So why didn't they go after the low-hanging fruit? I don't know the answer. All I know is that the American people, and I think the people around the world, would be ecstatic to see Donald in a matching orange jumpsuit that matches his complexion.
Yeah, and it is maddening. I mean, you went to jail because you followed Donald Trump's orders, and then prosecutors refused to prosecute Donald Trump, who gave you the orders. And it looks like they're on the way to doing the same thing with Weisselberg. It is weird.
No, it's not going to be the same. It's not going to be the same with Weisselberg. That's a whole nother scenario. And I do believe that they're going to get information. They're going to take the entire Trump organization apart, and potentially Donald will get pulled into it. But let's not forget, there's still also the Attorney General's case here in New York, which right now, even though it's civil, could easily become criminal.
Yeah, all right. So we're going to find out. I mean, if Weisselberg really does give damaging information, they really do charge Trump, that would be amazing. And there would finally be accountability. But I'll believe it when I see it. I mean, all prosecutors have ever done is let him skate. So Michael, one more thing, your book. Right now, ironically, the Republicans and Trump are saying, oh, can't believe how politicized the Department of Justice is. So tell us about how Donald Trump politicized the Department of Justice.
Yeah, well, we already know that Bill Barr created a memo in order to dispel the Mueller team. He also was involved in an unconstitutional remand of me back to prison because I wouldn't waive my First Amendment rights and not publish my first book, which became a #1 New York Times bestseller, Disloyal. They threw me back in prison for that. Donald Trump figured out that the Justice Department needs a massive overhaul because there's a lot of abuse that goes on there, and these guys all get immunity based upon their job. So he is using that same line, what he created, the weaponization of the Justice Department, to go against his critics, including, you may have seen, they're now claiming that the IRS was instructed to go after McCabe and Comey and me. I mean, they charged me with, what was it, 5 counts of tax evasion? I'd never tax evaded. Wait till you read this book. You will get a completely different understanding of exactly the story, what happened to me. And the point I'm trying to make in the book is if this could happen to me, somebody with a microphone, a megaphone, someone who's the personal attorney to the president of the United States, really sitting up there at the height of power, if they could do this to me, just imagine what they could do to you.
Interesting. All right, where can people pre-order?
So go to revenge-thebook.com. There you can also download for free the foreword. I think you'll find it fascinating, and I think it'll change your entire perspective, not just on the Department of Justice, but also exactly how Donald Trump went ahead, weaponized it using a complicit and a willing attorney general, basically to destroy our democracy.
All right, Michael Cohen, former attorney for Donald J. Trump, now explaining what he actually does. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate it.
Good to see you, my friend.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks. Really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.